Hi, everyone. It's been a while, but it is time to do another Inside Scoop interview with a subject matter expert. I'm Lori from Marketing Troubadour. Thanks for joining us. And I'm excited today to be talking to Valerie Recore with Stride Productivity. And I love it anytime I hear Valerie talk because she's very practical, but she's also funny. And I don't know if you're meaning to be funny, but you are, because when you say like, don't fold your kids' clothes, I love it, So maybe that gives you a little clue about what we're going to be talking about today. But she is the owner of Stride Productivity, and I'm going to let her take a few minutes to introduce herself, and then we're going to talk about, some hacks and this whole idea of busyness and being too busy and how we can cope with some of these things. So Valerie, happy to have you here. Give us an introduction.
Thank you for having me, Lori. So I'm Valerie Recore, owner of Stride Productivity, and I am a productivity specialist. And I work with overwhelmed and overcommitted moms, helping them spend more quality time with their families and doing all of that without the guilt or the chaos. And I do this work because I believe moms do way too much. Our society has just really cultured us to feel like we have to take it all on. And I'm calling BS on that. And I really think that moms need to take a step back and just focus on the right things versus all the things. And so that is my mission in my business.
I love it. I love it so much. And I know that not everyone listening is a mom, or maybe you're a mom, but you don't have kids at home. Like my daughter is grown, but I still think, especially for entrepreneurs, because I know we have a lot of entrepreneurs in this group, it's almost the same thing, right? Like as a mom, you've just got a million hats, and as an entrepreneur, you've got a million hats. So if you're a mom and an entrepreneur, you got 2 million hats, right?
Many hats.
way too many. So you mentioned this too. I love how you talked about, without the guilt or the chaos, because some of that is what feels so weighty, I think, to me. So I'm saying that entrepreneurs have a lot in common with overwhelmed moms. So when we're thinking about, and you alluded to this a little bit, but talk about it a little bit more, that it's not necessarily about getting it all done, it's getting the right things done.
Right. So I think we have it in our head. We've got these long to-do lists that we need to just spend every day powering through all of these tasks, and we're not getting anywhere, or it feels like we're not getting anywhere. And we feel guilty at the end of the day because we haven't made as much progress as we seem to think we've made, even though it's impossible to get all that done. I mean, I have days where I add more things to my list, then I cross things off. And just so those days just happen, right? And it's really taking some time to figure out what's on that list and what's important. And there are a variety of ways that we can do this, but it's really focusing on like your long-term goals and your values and what it is that you want to be doing, and then comparing that to your list. So what is it on your list that really is driving your long-term business goals? What are the things that are making you money and bringing clients and working on your marketing, versus a task that maybe doesn't have as much value, and not doing those or pushing them off to be done. Like I certainly have a long list of things I'd like to do with my business. They're not all going to happen today or this week or this month. So it's really focusing on, okay, this week, today, I want to get this task done. And breaking those tasks down as to the smallest possible thing. So like if you just have marketing tasks on your list, you're not going to know what that means. Whereas if you have your detailed plan, or you have an idea of, okay, I want to work on X, Y, and Z, today I'm just going to pick this one thing and work on that one thing. I think knowing your long-term goals helps you figure out what to work on today, and really helps you focus, and then letting go of not knowing that you're not going to get it all done today.
Yeah. Sometimes that feels like it's a little bit easier said than done. And maybe that's just our conditioning. I don't know. But I really like what you said about the project, because I will write down a client project and I will just write down so-and-so project on my list. And in reality, there's 10 things I need to do in order for that project to be done. So then I get frustrated because I can't cross it off, Right. So I think I like that part about breaking it down and just putting the separate little tasks, because I think some people say that they know there's some people who enjoy having lists and crossing things off lists. I think everybody loves crossing things off lists.
Yeah, we
You know,
like to
it
see what
feels
we've
good.
accomplished. It feels good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you've let us know that we don't have to do everything. So when we're doing it, is it more about, you know, you've figured out what the things are that you're going to do? How do you prioritize them and keep other things from coming on the list?
Right. That is a great question. So it depends on each day to some degree. So there's having flexibility in your day. So not having every single minute scheduled with your tasks. And I know it's recommended to have something scheduled on your calendar, like a specific task, but maybe you don't have the entire day booked with things. So having some white space in there, because things are going to shift, especially both as a mom and as an entrepreneur. Clients are going to cancel, clients are going to call, your computer's going to break, like something is going to come up. And so having some white space in your day for things to shift, or your energy levels. I have certainly had days where I had planned to work on something that needed a lot of creative brain power, and I didn't sleep well, and I woke up the next day and was just like, this is not going to happen today. And that is one of the bonuses of being an entrepreneur, is there's some flexibility in that of, okay, I'm not going to do this today, but I can switch it with what I had planned for tomorrow or later today and work on a few tasks. The priority piece is really, you can look at deadlines. So if you have a client deadline or something that really needs to happen soon, focusing on those. Again, something that's going to make you money, and working on that. And if you're truly stuck as to where to start and what to do next, I suggest writing on individual little slips of paper all the tasks you want to do that day and sticking it in a bowl and just pulling one out at a time and working your way through.
I love that.
If you have kids in the house, let them do it, because that can be entertaining as well. And sometimes just the act of doing that, something will surface. You'll be putting the stuff, writing the tasks down, put it in the bowl, and you'll be like, actually, I really just need to go do this task. Like just the act of doing that. But some days we just don't know. Everything feels urgent. We're tired. We don't know what to focus on. We'd rather be watching Christmas movies, whatever that looks like. Just put all the tasks in a bowl and then let the bowl tell you what to do next. And then you're just going to continue to work through those tasks until it's time for a break, or you complete it, or whatever goal and end goal you give yourself. But that just, it helps, because everything feels important. It all feels urgent.
Sure, it does. It's
and
priority.
it's hard.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
hard to prioritize.
I love that so much, and that feels different than what you hear most people say, because it's like, I've heard that idea of just write down only 3 things you have to get done today. And it's like, oh man, if I only had to get 3 things done in a day, that'd be a great world. But that's so unrealistic, right? And I like that idea, because I think you're right. When you write things down, if you had 10 things and you were writing them on slips of paper, there'd be one of them that you'd write down. And as you're putting it into the bowl, you would probably be self-editing even more, right? Like, oh, I don't know, that doesn't even really need to go in the bowl because it doesn't need to be done today. Or you'd leave it out and you'd know that's really what you should do first.
That needs to happen. Yeah. And I think there is something to the only having 3 to 5 tasks each day, knowing that you do way more than that, but it might be 3 major priorities. So it might be, today I really need to outline my next Facebook Live, or I really need to outline this webinar, and I'm going to work on that, and then I'll go do all of the other things on my list. And so figuring out what are those key steps that you need to work on, knowing that you do more than 3 to 5 things. Like my lists never have just that, but I will have I know I need to work on these 2 or 3 items and get those at least moving forward.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you figured out, made your huge unrealistic list. And so you kind of narrowed it down and you figured out the things that you're going to do. How do you actually say no to the stuff you decide you're not going to do? And that's where I think you talked about like the guilt coming in. So how do you deal with, you've made your own decision. How do you deal with how you feel about it, but also other people?
So that comes down to knowing everything you have on your to-do list. So getting all out of your head onto a piece of paper, Word document, or however you manage your tasks, everything. So you have a good sense of what is happening in the next, let's say 3 months, 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Because we'll say yes to something 3 months down the road, thinking that our future self is less busy, but we're not. And so part of that is thinking, all right, if somebody asks you to do something in a couple of months, thinking, would I do this tomorrow? And if the answer is no, then you're going to say no, because future you is just as busy as today you. We think that there's some magic. We're just going to magically clear our calendars and our to-do list in the next few months, and we're not.
We just don't want to say no to people.
We just don't want to say no. And so when you have a sense of both your long-term goals and maybe your business values and your tasks, it helps you figure out if whatever somebody is asking of you fits in all of that. So keeping in mind that when you do say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So if you have as a mom, if you have a goal of spending evenings with your family, you're going to say no to anything that's going to take away from that time, period. And if it's something with your business, it might be maybe you really want to roll out a new online course in 6 months. So you're going to figure out what all the tasks are to make that happen. And then anything that comes along that is going to take away from that time, you're going to say no to. And knowing that, because if you say yes to that, you're taking away from reaching this other goal. And that could fit with anywhere. I mean, and it might mean that you do say no to something that really is great, but you know that there's something even better that you're going to focus on. And that's hard. And it's a big mindset shift, and it's hard, but it takes practice, and it's shifting that to, I'm saying yes to this thing, which requires me to say no to this, but this other yes is way more valuable and important to me.
I like that. I like that. So then no doesn't feel quite as bad because there's something better, right?
Right. Yeah. You know that there's something better that you're doing. And so you can say no to this. Yeah.
Okay. That's important. That's very helpful to me. And okay. So if I have this feeling, and which I think a lot of us share, is that we have to earn our fun time or our downtime, or if we want to go take a walk even at noon, we can't just put it in our calendar. We have to do these things to earn it. Do you think that's common? And like, if it's common, it's like, where the heck does it come from?
Yeah, well, because our society has conditioned us that productivity and moving forward and upward in our lives is our value, and that we constantly need to be moving forward. We constantly need to be promoted at work, earning more money, improving all of these things, instead of just being content with where we are. And I'm not saying that if you're going after all of this stuff, that's not a good thing. But when it comes to crossing tasks off your to-do list, eventually you get to the point where you are so exhausted, you're not even effective at your to-do list. You're just too tired. You're making mistakes, which then means you're going to spend more time going back to fix those mistakes. And so really, we all deserve time off. How many times have you just been driving down the road and you suddenly come up with an idea for your business, or a birthday gift for somebody you've been struggling on, or something? You just come up, you solve a problem. And those ideas happen when you step away from everything. And so if you're just really struggling to get work done, you're just tired, they feel really hard, just walk away for a little while, go take a walk, go have a dance party in your kitchen, whatever you want to do, just get away for a few minutes or an hour. And even just, I think especially as entrepreneurs, those to-do lists feel endless, and we feel like this hustle culture. We just feel like we constantly need to be working at this stuff. And I think we just wear ourselves out to the point that we're not effective, and we're not even really aware of what we're doing anymore. We're just doing it because my to-do list says I need to do these 12 things and I must do them, versus I'm exhausted, I'm going to go watch Netflix for a little while, and then I'll come back to this list, or then I will
and I'll be better.
Right? And it'll be better, so much better. Yeah. I mean, how many times do you give yourself that day to you take a full weekend or a Friday off and you come back to work the next day or Monday, actually excited about being there and ready to get some things done versus just feeling like it's all a drain, that
Right.
it's just, we're just
I like
slogging
that.
through.
So I feel like you're kind of saying it's like a mindset pivot. So instead of
Mhm.
thinking, if I get 10 things crossed off my list, I earned my fun time. It's
Mhm.
or my downtime. It doesn't have to be fun time. It could just be like, relaxing time or downtime. But in
Mhm.
other words, if you flip it and think if you have that downtime or fun time, it will actually help you get more things
Mhm.
done on your list.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to do something fun, put something fun on your to-do list. Make it happen. So that's something, kind of I'll have on the weekends. We'll talk to our kids, like, what's one fun thing you want to do today? That goes on the list of things that we're going to do. We're going to make that happen or do our best to make it happen. And so if you're struggling to make time for that, just put it on your list and make time, because you're going to make time for that. And it's a huge mindset shift from I must be doing it all to actually I'm just taking the night off because I just need to recharge. And that comes with shifting away from that guilt piece and really focusing on kind of that task management helps you let go of that guilt piece because things are being taken care of and you can go take that break.
Right. I love it. I love it. Okay, we're going to switch gears real quickly just because I read a blog post that Valerie just wrote talking about the holidays. And I
Mhm.
think we talk about our normal lives and how busy we are and how overwhelmed and how stressed. And then we're in the holidays and it's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, right? And most of us, I think, feel maybe even more stressed. And I really liked some of your tips. So I would say, what would be your top 3 tips for surviving the holidays, and not just surviving, but actually enjoying them?
Yeah, I think one of my big concerns about the holidays this year, especially for moms, is that we're going to go way overboard because last year was so different. And it's something that I'm talking a lot about within my own work and my coaching clients is just how do we take a step back and simplify? So one of them is really just simplifying. Maybe it's making a list of all the things you want to do, feel you need to do, feel you should do, need, like whatever those lists are, write it all down and then take a serious look at it and see what you can let go of. Do you need the 5 different kinds of cookies? Do you need to attend every single party that you are invited to? What is it? And part of that, and so what can you cross off? Do you need to buy gifts for everybody in your family, or can you do some kind of secret Santa this year? So everybody's only buying one gift and we're not spending a bunch of time and money buying gifts. Maybe it's you're hosting Christmas dinner and in your family, it's always been whoever hosts does everything. And maybe this year you say, okay, I'm going to make the main dish. Everybody else has to sign up for something else. Here's a list of all the things we need. It's my family has always done it that way. Whoever hosts makes the main dish. Everybody else brings something. And then it's not you in the kitchen all day, not being able to enjoy anything.
Right.
And heading to the grocery store 7 times for things that you forgot. So it's really where can you step back from that? Another part of that is having a conversation with your family. So sitting down and going, what is one thing, one activity, one thing that you want to do this holiday season? For one of my daughters, it was build gingerbread houses. I really want to watch the Polar Express. Anything to do with candy, my kids are just like, well, we want to frost sugar cookies and we want that they'll be just happy just eating candy or sugar cookies for the next few weeks. And so we're going to make time for that. We're going to watch the movie. We're going to drink the hot chocolate while we do it. We're going to make gingerbread houses. I think sledding was one of them. Like that might not happen this month here in Denver.
No place to sled.
Who knows if we'll ever get snow, but really, and then maybe it's just saying no to everything else. And really that is okay. And I know that's hard for people. And I know, if going overboard for the holidays makes you happy and you love it and it fills you up, then do it. But if you find at the end of the holidays that you're just fried and you didn't enjoy any of it, figure out what you can cut back on and just don't and let somebody else do it. So maybe it's letting your partner buy Christmas gifts for your in-laws, or being in charge of figuring out where you're going to go drive around to see Christmas lights. And the last thing in there is making a note in your calendar for early January to sit down and evaluate the holidays. What went well? What didn't go well? What do you wish you'd done differently? And making notes of that and putting it in your calendar for November of next year. So you can come back to that and go, okay, I really wish that we had done this differently last year. Let's make a plan to do that so that you're learning. So you're not hitting next November, doing it all over again. You can remember. And it could be something like, how your turkey roaster works stuff, so it's, we always overcook our turkey because the turkey roaster cooks things faster than the rest of us. So our Thanksgiving turkey was overdone because we weren't ready for it. When it was done, we were still scrambling to make everything else. So there's now a note in the turkey roaster for next time we break it out that says, beware, it will cook an hour quicker than you think it will. Be prepared. And so it could be as simple as that. It could be, we threw a party this year and it didn't go well, or we needed to do it at this time, and just make those notes and evaluate and talk to your family about it too. What did your kids enjoy or not enjoy? What did your partner enjoy? So that you can shift it for next year.
Well, when you say that's simple, you're right. It is simple, but it's something I would have never thought of that. It's like you just rely on your memory, and then since it's not written down, you don't remember, and then you do it all over again, so that's brilliant. That's a good, I'm making little notes of certain takeaways. That's, for me, that's a big takeaway, because I think it also made me realize when you said, no, maybe there's no sledding, and then I think, why does sledding or hot chocolate or making cookies or any of that stuff have to be during those few weeks because it's Christmas season or holiday season? It's like, you can watch a Christmas movie and make cookies in January. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, right? Because it's like, we do that, and it's like we hit Christmas and it's like, oh, here's these
and you have
3 movies we haven't watched. Yeah, and you have to stop, and you don't watch until next year. And that's so ludicrous if you think about it.
It is. Yeah. I think if we go do Christmas lights, like go walk through someplace this year, we're going to do after Christmas, partly because I'm hoping it'll be less busy, because everybody will feel like they have to go before Christmas, but why not do that? And we don't, and sometimes it's just, okay, you really want to spend time with certain people, but maybe that happens in January. Maybe you get together that first week of January and everybody brings all their leftover cookies and dessert and food, and you just have a fest where you swap stuff. Like, I'm so tired of eating candy cane shaped cookies. Let's change. Let's just share stuff out. And then you get to hang out with people, but it's not in the chaos of the holidays.
Yeah, and the pressure. I love that. I love that idea too. And it's like, when we think about it, it's like, who makes those rules? Like whoever they are.
Right.
It's like, who makes those rules anyway? And do you ever catch yourself? Sometimes I do this. I just think, like, what makes me think I can give myself permission to do XYZ? And it's like, when you really think about it, it's like, I can do whatever the heck I want. It's like, who's standing over me with a whip saying you can't watch White Christmas in March, right?
Right. Absolutely. And that, I think it comes down, there's so many things that we do with like food that we eat on specific holidays. It was, my dad was not okay when I suggested something different for Thanksgiving. It was just like, well, we must have turkey. I'm like, all right, we will, that's fine. But it's not, nobody is going to come over and make sure that we ate turkey that day.
They're looking for the turkey carcass in your trash.
And I think too, with the holidays, it's we feel like we need to make it magical. We need to make it this wonderful. We need to decorate everything and have all these activities and all of this stuff. And we do it for our kids. And I'm not sure our kids care that much. I don't really know. That's why, like, get them involved in it. Get them
because if you pick the one thing they said, that's what they're going to remember.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. We don't have to do everything. We just feel like we have to, because whoever they is has told us that we have to.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, everyone, I hope you listen to those tips so you can like relax. I'm planning on doing that. That was so helpful, the holiday stuff, but also just all of it. Thank you for all those tips. I think that was awesome. And by the way, we will have more in our comments below, we will put Valerie's website, because if you want to go read that blog post, it is on there and you can see it in its entirety. So in closing, I want to have a few questions that are like lightning round questions, and Valerie doesn't know these questions, so hopefully they're not going to be difficult. I think you can manage them. But number one, I'm just curious what you're reading right now or listening to.
Yeah, what am I reading? That is a good question. Oh, I just started a book called the Library Book, which it has been out for a little while. And I'm also at the same time reading another one called Think Again, which is all about questioning the status quo and all the things that similar to this conversation kind of things.
I was going to say that sounds very similar. I think you're going to need to write your own book. Think again and again. Okay, awesome. And next, what do you want to be when you grew up?
Oh my gosh. I may still be figuring that out. Kind of doing a lot of what I'm doing right now. I feel like this is where I want to be for a while, is really just impacting moms' lives and helping them really shift their outlook on things and helping them manage their tasks so that they can go do all the fun things that we want to do.
Oh, good. Okay. What is the greatest time saver you have ever implemented?
Oh my goodness. I think my brain just short-circuited.
Yeah, it's probably because you have so many.
Right, so many.
There's got to be something where you just think, oh my gosh, I can't believe we ever used to do it this way.
Mm-hmm. The first thing that came to mind is it's a thing. It's called the time timer, and I bought it when my kids were little because it shows you can. It's a clock, or like it goes up to an hour, and it'll count down. So you can put it on like 45 minutes, and there's red that shows, and you can see it count down. And so we use it with our kids all the time, but you can use it for work. If you're doing like the Pomodoro technique, or you just want to sit at your desk you're struggling to work on something, like I'm just going to sit here for 15 minutes, you can just use this timer. And having an analog clock in your room where you work, because everything is digital these days, right? Like but it gives you a good sense of time passing. And so it will help you focus on what is going on.
Is it actually called the time timer?
The time timer. And they're big ones and little ones. And I didn't realize how amazing it was until I bought one for our kids. And then we use it all the time. I think we have a couple. We never bought a big one, but I could see a big one being really helpful too.
Yeah, I want one. Okay, I'm gonna get a time timer. Okay. That's great. Okay, this is a quick one. What's the worst chore, laundry or dishes?
Dishes. I'm so sick of dishes.
I agree with you on that one. Okay, and lastly, Valerie, what's your superpower?
My superpower. I'm gonna go with back to this status quo thing. I love questioning the status quo. And the way that we do things. And that doesn't mean that I want to change the way we do everything. I just want people to question why we're doing things. And I think that's something that I bring to work with my clients and just my own life, is really just questioning, looking at the why behind stuff. And we can decide to keep it the same, or we can shift things, but really, why are we doing the things that we do? And taking it from there.
That nobody's ever answered that before. That is a great superpower. That's a great superpower. I like it. Okay, thank you so much. I want to just close today with you telling us, just so everyone knows, we will put all the details of handles and contact information below, but tell us how people can get in touch with you, or if they want to follow you, what they can do.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and that's at Stride Productivity. And on there, you will find regular tips and ideas. A few times I get on my soapbox about various things. And then I also have a webinar coming up in January, a regular occurring webinar, hour-long, with some hot seat coaching, time for Q&A. And I walk through just some of my favorite process for just getting back on track with our time. And all of the marketing for that will end up on social media. So if it's something that you're interested in, find me on social media and say hi, and just keep an eye out for some of that information.
Okay, that sounds great. Yeah, and if you want someone in your corner to feel like they can tell you, yes, I think you're doing too much, instead of no, I think you should do more, you definitely need to be following Valerie, because sometimes I think that feels like it's a lonely place, and I love it. Every time I hear you say, we do too much, and it's like, yes, preach it, it's like, it's kind of like, if we support each other in thinking that, then I think the guilt is a little bit less.
Right. Yeah. We've been taught that our productivity is equal to our value, and it's not. We are valuable in our own ways, and how much you get done every day has nothing to do with that.
Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we're going to close. I was writing down some of my takeaways, but there's not one or two. There's about 8 of them. But a few I just wanted to, okay, there's 3 I'm going to mention. And one is this idea of leaving white space in your calendar, because I always think I'm so busy, I have to put everything in my calendar. And you're correct. If there's no white space, you don't have any room to get anything done. It's like going to a doctor's office, and if you have a 4 o'clock appointment, you're not going to get seen till 5, because they don't leave any white space. So it's like, why can't we? The second one is the idea of putting things in a bowl. I'm seriously going to try that. I want to post in here and let people know how that works for me. And the third thing that I just wanted to say that I really appreciated is this idea of thinking our future self is less busy than our current self, and that is just not true. Because of course, when we think about it on an intellectual level, our future self isn't less busy. I mean, there's just no way, but that's an illusion. And I thought that one really struck me, because I've never heard anybody mention that either. So thank you for those and everything else. And we will talk again.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for having me.
All right, bye.
Bye.